Now then, we will get to our program, and like I said, we have a gentleman that's coming to us from across the pond. Not any pond here in the United States, but a big pond clear across through into the United Kingdom. Mark Edelson is my guest today. Mark, do you have Orion, or were you able to rouse him?
Morning, Jan. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes,
Yes.
we've got Orion on the other line. This is a good friend of mine who's based in the US, and he's just holding back for a time, and then when he feels he's going to come in, he'll come in and talk. But he's there on the other line as well. We have Orion as well.
Well, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us, Orion. I got to tell you that I met Mark through my very, very dear friend, Colleen Thomas, who was a guest on February the 5th and also January the 22nd, talking about the things that are going on in the universe, in the world, that's affecting our two- and four-legged, furred and feathered angels. And what we're going to talk about today is maybe a subject or a topic that you have heard about, maybe studied, maybe even talked about or know about. It is orgone. Now, it's not Oregon or Oregon the state. It is a device that holds energy. And I am not as good as explaining the whole process as what Mark is. It's Mark Edelson, and he is the supplier for the orgone products. Mark, why don't you take it away and explain to the audience what orgone is, how you became associated with it, and what does this do for our two- and four-legged, furred and feathered angels?
Thanks, Jan. Hello, everybody, again. I'm going to explain about orgone. You can call it orgone or orgone, O-R-G-O-N-E. And basically, it's a very powerful energy that's been around literally forever. It's not really well known, but it was discovered, orgone energy, going back into it was about the 1930s. Now, orgone energy is basically everywhere around us. It's actually surrounding the Earth. What it is, it's, the Earth has a blue glow around it. Now that blue glow is a protection. It's actually orgone energy. But not only does it surround the Earth, but it also surrounds everything else. It's just that you can't see it to the naked eye, but the energy is there. And a gentleman called Dr. Wilhelm Reich, who in the 1920s and 30s was very friendly with Albert Einstein and also Sigmund Freud. He's very, very well known, is Dr. Wilhelm Reich, and he discovered that every living thing contains this energy. But unfortunately, because of the industrial revolutions of the 100 years and factories and basically a lot of the pollution in the air and so on, and electromagnetic towers that we have, cell phone towers, it's actually diminishing the orgone energy, the natural orgone energy in the universe and also on the Earth. So what we have is, obviously humans have been suffering quite a bit, and animals as well, because of this lack of orgone energy. Now, what happened to me was I found this name, orgone energy, back in June 2009, and I thought, well, what does it do? How can it help me? And what we found was that Dr. Reich did experiments, first of all, with this energy, which is it's a harmless energy. It will not harm, and it's proven it cannot harm anybody, but it actually enhance the health of humans and animals. And what he did was he experimented by making what's called an accumulator. It's like a box which is with organic materials surrounding the inside of the box, which was emanating orgone energy, was very compact inside the box. So because of these materials, natural materials, it was controlling the orgone energy in a very intense way in the box. So what he did was, he first of all knew that it was very beneficial for humans, but also for animals. And his first experiments was on mice, and mice that had cysts and cancers. He literally put them in the box for a few hours, obviously so they could breathe as well. But he found that after a few days of this intense orgone therapy, it was actually helping to reduce the cancerous growths in mice. So he first of all started with the animals. Then he started to experiment with humans with also similar problems, ailments, fatigue. And because of the orgone energy, that was a natural forming energy, but it was just intensified through his experiments, then people were beginning to get benefit. Now, unfortunately, I mean, this was going back into the 1930s and 40s, so it's a long time ago. But unfortunately, for Wilhelm Reich, the government weren't ready to tell the public about this amazing discovery yet. So, I mean, it's quite a sad story, but he was arrested and trialed for literally, you know, there's a lot of information about his unfortunate, you know, dealings with the government. They didn't want him to know, you know, they didn't want him to let this amazing discovery out. So what I suggest is, rather than spend about 3 hours explaining too many technical details, my website, which is orgone, O-R-G-O-N-E -orgonite, ORGONITE-supplier.com. If you want to know more about his works and what happened to him, and obviously the amazing discoveries that he made, you can go on the website about that. But going back to how it is affecting my life and what has happened to me, is that obviously a lot of his work was discredited and so on, even though it was proven to be very beneficial. Then in the 1960s, a device which was called orgonite, which was basically a device which was also generating the power of orgone energy, which was emulating the orgone energy, was found that crystals, just normal crystals or crystals that you can buy, especially the quartz crystal, this specific crystal, quartz crystal, when it was entrapped in a resin, if it was kept in a resin form and metal connected with it, was called an orgone device or an orgonite device. So in the 1960s, it was discovered that these devices were also creating an incredible energy, which was the orgone energy. So now we had the power for ourselves to actually, we can make our own orgone energy and bring the health back into our lives. So what I decided to do was I found out how to make it. Well, there's a lot of information on the internet about this, and I started to make orgone devices, just little small devices with the quartz crystal in, packed in the resin, so the resin hardens around the crystal with metal inside. So it was like a little puck. It almost looked like a little hockey puck, and it was actually. I noticed when I first made this device, I first made a few devices. The most amazing thing happened, which was proven that was very good for the atmosphere. And at the time I was making this device, there was literally, because where I live is the northeast of England, and it can be very cloudy, very lots of rain and smog. And I noticed the most amazing thing above me once I was making the device, there was literally a hole in the ozone layer, and the sun was poking through. So so I created a device which was creating orgone energy, which was blasting through into the atmosphere and literally clearing the atmosphere within half an hour. Within a 2 to 3 mile radius, it was blue skies, sunshine, and this was one of the amazing effects of orgone energy. It clears the atmosphere. And again, if you go to the website, there are so many stories of what other things that it does. Now, another thing it does, I'll get to the animals as well, but how it especially helped, impacted on my life was, I heard that a lot of people were using the orgone and putting it under the bed and sleeping well and this type of thing. So I thought, I'll do that. Anyway, what happened to me was, just to go off the track a little bit, I've been trying for a family with my wife for about 10 years. Or should I say, I was trying now, and I'm sure this is a positive effect. This was before the orgone devices. I was trying and unsuccessful with my wife to have a family. Then 6 months after having the orgone under the bed, which was there, my wife told me this Christmas Eve that she's pregnant, and she's now 11 weeks pregnant. And straight away I thought, that must be the power of the orgone. And you can actually, we could actually feel it healing our bodies under the bed. It's quite amazing, Jan.
What you felt was a warmth, like it felt like a blue heat coming through to you.
Yes. What it does is the energy, the healing energy. It's from especially the quartz crystal. You can use other, I mean, obviously gemstones and crystals. They number in the hundreds. But what we found in the research that is out there is that the quartz crystal is the most powerful crystal. I mean, we're only just now beginning to realize, people are realizing the power of actual crystals, but it's not just the actual crystal itself, it's activating the crystal, and that's why these orgone devices, or that I particularly produced on the website, these are handy for people to put in their bag, to put especially against things which are emanating electromagnetic frequencies like laptops, computers. What it does is it seems to neutralize the harmful effects of negative energy, because you've got two types of energy. You've got your positive energy, which is orgone energy, ether energy, and you've got a negative energy, which is a dark louche energy, which is very harmful to humans and animals. And like Jan just mentioned there, you actually feel, when I made these devices going back about 1.5 years ago, you actually feel a healing in your body. You feel the area of your body being healed. And another an amazing effect it has is on the animals as well, moving into the animal kingdom. And on the site, if you do go to the site, which is orgonite-supplier.com, you will read and see testimonials of animals, humans, everything that you can think of. It seems to have a positive, and I do say a positive. I haven't had any testimonials or read anything negative, because it's not a harmful energy. It's a pure energy which is all around us. What these devices do is put more of the positive energy into our lives, because I feel over years and years it's the negativity, the negative energies which has drained us of our health and drained us of not just physical health but also psychic health. We find with these when people have the orgone devices with them, they become kind of a little bit more psychic or telepathic. They can tell when things are going to happen, so it's making them not just physically in tune but also mentally in tune, and you'll find this with many people who there's a lot of information out there on orgone and orgone energy of people who it's really helped them, not just physically but in a mental capacity as well. And I just want to mention as well how the orgone has helped one particular horse on the site, if you have a look, called Moon. Now Moon is basically she still is a 6-year-old Arab horse, but she suffered with laminitis, which is a very, very bad, the coffin bone rotation towards, it's penetrating through the soles of both the feet. Now you'll see that orgone was strapped, the device, orgonite device was strapped to the leg of the horse. Within an hour, literally within an hour, this horse was running around happy, and literally they wanted to destroy the horse because of the injury, but no, orgone helped it. And we're getting a lot of stories of people and testimonials where if you put the actual device, which once you go on the site you'll see the device that I've actually produced. If you put it near a specific ailment, or if you have a migraine, put the device, which is just as small enough to hold in your hand or put in your pocket or take with you, put it near the area. It doesn't take very, very long before the effects, the positive effects, help you.
Mark, I can testify to that. When I received the orgone that you sent, I must have had it a week, going a little bit over a week now. And I'm always full of vim, vigor, and vitality and orneriness and whatever else comes along with being spunky. But I have noticed a difference in the quality. I laid down last night, probably went to sleep around 12:30. 4 o'clock in the morning, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And the added energy, the quality of energy, and how I feel, because I always feel good, but there's something very special and uplifting. And I'm looking at this beautiful 14-hand, 6-year-old Arab horse, and they were going to put her down just hours before the orgone was introduced to her. And it's amazing.